As Nigerians prepare to vote in another presidential election after the two-term tenure of incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari, a barrage of factors and considerations have been coming into play in the build-up to the elections. One remarkable situation that practically every major stakeholder in the polity is conscious of and spoken about in a lot of cases is the question of whether or not time has come for the rest of Nigeria to support the emergence of an Igbo man as President of the Federal Republic. And to make this happen, there's an intensifying argument that the People's Democratic Party, one of the two biggest political platforms in the land, should consider it a moral duty to reward the Southeast caucus of the party with its presidential ticket for more than 2 decades of consistent support and for keeping the faith through thick and thin. How many people, even PDP itself, believe in this idea? Well, to explore the possibilities, we're now being joined by Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, a corporate mogul, renowned captain of industry, and a presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. You're welcome, Mazi. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you today? Happy Sunday.
Very well. Happy Sunday to you too. Good to have you join us. You're welcome. You know, of course, that APC is more or less decided on where it will zone its ticket for the presidency. We know that it will be the South. Where in South that will have to happen as we inch closer to the primaries. But for your party, the PDP, it looks like, you know, it's been thrown open. And what we are hearing consistently is that the zoning arrangements and the mood of the nation will not be the priority, that no part of the country will be denied running. So we have seen former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, you know, your candidate in the last election, declaring that he would like to run again, even, you know, boasting, if you like, that has there ever been a time that he has lost the ticket, you know, if he choose to go for it. So what's the deal for you? Are you swimming against the tide? If there's no specific policy to zone the ticket to the South or specifically to the Southeast, what are your chances? And does it mean that in 2023, the call for Igbo presidency is yet again a mirage?
Well, thank you very much. I think the critical thing is that on every subject, on every subject, you are likely going to have different views and different perspectives. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, but maybe a bit of a noise as distraction, but we can hear you.
Yes, I'm echo, so I don't know.
But if there are gadgets around you, you may need to turn them down so that we can hear you better.
Is it better now?
Yeah, that's fine. You can proceed, sir.
Okay, so I said on any given subject,
yes,
there are going to be perspectives and there are going to be different views. People look at things. For me, the issue of zoning is important because it is one of the things that even the PDP itself has as a tools to be able to ensure that it maintains equity, it enshrines in its own books the need to rotate power within the nation. And it has shown it over and over. This is not the first time it has happened. So what is going on now, I believe, is that the leaders of the party are under tremendous pressure from different interests and different people. And there's this kind of prevarication that you see. But at the end of the day, my belief is that good sense will emerge. Good sense will take precedence over partisanship because I think that PDP is a party that cares for the unity of Nigeria. It's a party that is interested in the progress of our country and the unity of the country. And as you rightly pointed out in intro, the Southeast has been very, very, very faithful in supporting PDP over these years. So I would be surprised if PDP will close this and walk away and walk against Southeast. So I like to see what is going on, the current prevarication as being strategic and giving opportunity for full-time consultation and hearing everybody out. That's my thinking. But as for my challenge, I have said it earlier on, I think on this platform, that I have come to run for office of the President of the Republic of Nigeria based on my motivation and feeling that I'm competent and that I have what it takes to offer Nigeria the services that it needs at this critical time. The services to build an economy that will create prosperity for all, to build a country of justice, equity, and fair play, and to provide a secure nation that's globally competitive, a nation that works for everybody. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day whether it is zone north or south or east or west. I believe that our chances are as bright as ever because Nigerians have spoken to are enthused that there's a vision. That the first time they are seeing a presidential candidate come to a vision to make Nigeria globally competitive and a first world nation, and they haven't done that in a long time. Secondly, the kind of values we are coming with, values that will turn Nigeria around, the kind of policies that we are speaking about to turn Nigeria into an investment level, where our country will attract investment, local, and build an economy that will grow at double rates like China did grow. People want to hear that. Also hearing that there are issues of what have you, what baggages have you had. And they are saying that that's important for the party, that's important for Nigeria. People come to office to come fresh, come with fresh ideas, and will not be distracted by anything that has been an impediment to their successful execution of their goal. So I think my chances are bright as ever. Of course, if we go to the southeast, it will achieve several things. It will cause national cohesion. It will show that this country cares and will not be down or self-centered. That will want an existing nation that will be at peace with the nation.
All right, Mazi Ohuabunwa, let's zoom into the inner workings of the PDP as a political party itself. In what ways would you say the party has evolved in opposition, having lost the presidential elections in both 2015 and 2019? What has the party learned over this time, and in what ways have they actually evolved?
I must admit to you that the party was not really prepared for the role of an opposition party. It had gotten into this that it was going to be in government for a long time.
All right, Mazi, I'm going to have to cut you in a little bit. We'll come back to you in a few minutes where we will answer the question more extensively. Thank you for staying with us and welcome back to the morning show. So we've been having a chat with Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, who of course is trying to give us some more detail about how the PDP as a political party has evolved over time. Let's please have you, Mr. Mazi Ohuabunwa.
Thank you very much. I was saying that the truth of the matter is that PDP was not prepared to play the role of opposition. Having been on the saddle for a number of years, looking at the size of the party, and looking at its popularity across the nations, the north, the south, the east, and the west. And then also looking at what the party was planning for the nation. It wasn't really prepared for opposition roles. So when it became an opposition party, first it had to reconcile itself with that role, much more when it felt it won the election, but didn't understand why eventually it wasn't given the opportunity to produce the president. So it took some time for the party to understand its role as opposition party. And I can tell you without fear of any contradiction that even up to now, PDP has not quite adjusted to playing that role of an opposition party. Why? Because it believes that its rightful place is to offer leadership to the nation. Because it's the party that has a broad mandate. It's the party that has a broad perspective. It's the party that, if you look at the demography of Nigerians who belong to the party. It's across all the zones, all the demarcations. There's no predominance, predominant this, predominant that. So it's a purely Nigerian party, and it thinks that it's best suited to be at the center, to drive a nation, drive its economic growth. It has a progressive agenda, and also has an agenda that allows for the opening up of the economy. It has an agenda that allows for global competitiveness and measuring of our performance. It has an outlook that ensures that it wants to achieve something. It was during the PDP regime that we came up with Vision 2020, even though that vision was not fully implemented. But PDP always promotes the emergence of a vision, because it's an understanding that without a vision, as the Holy Book says, the people perish. I mean, in the last 6-7 years, I don't know what's the vision of our country. Nobody can tell me what we are all directing our attention to. So I think that PDP has, of course, understood its areas of excesses. Some of those things it didn't do well, which may have offended some Nigerians, and PDP has been working on that. And that's why when we speak about the issue of zoning, I want to believe that PDP will not shoot itself on the feet, because this is its own policy. It's a policy enshrined in its workings that will rotate power from time to time. I mean, the argument that 2019 that the North didn't produce the president from PDP really is just begging the issue. Nigeria is a nation, and therefore it's not whether the party that produces party A or party B. The critical thing is that power must go from the north to the south, south to the north. Because if that argument is maintained, it means that if the next person, if PDP, for example, zones it to the north, then the north produces a president. Then the next time APC will say no, our last president was from the south, we should also zone it from the north. Then you can see that there's going to be confusion. It is not just the party, where does the person come from the parties, who becomes president, who holds substantive office. I mean, there are many parties that will nominate people to the office during the competition, but only one person will emerge. And if it's north or south, we then know that the next president after that, because it's a holistic thing, it's a one country, it's not two countries, it's not a PDP country, it's not a APC country, it's one country. So I think that PDP will do the right thing at the proper time, and will be prepared to play the role that it has always managed to play, which is to lead the nation to become a globally competitive country, to be a major player in the world, to be respected. It was already beginning to do that, even though at some not very high pace, but you could see growth in the economy, you could see growth in GDP, you could see increase in foreign exchange accretion, you could see enlargement even in the contribution of the real sector in the economy. All this story of anchor program borrowing, when I hear it started only 4 years ago, 6 years ago, I laugh, because some of us are not telling the truth. When we talk about the Abuja-Kaduna Railroad, as a member of Shopee, I was in the Shopee, I oversighted the completion of the Abuja-Kaduna rail standard gauge. It was what was commissioned, which was done after the election. So this PDP government had done well, but was prepared to do better. And Nigerians are challenging it to do much better, because we've seen the difference. And we now know that, yes, PDP didn't do as well, but certainly they didn't do as badly as we are seeing. And I think the evolution and the thinking in the party is that we must put our best feet out. Nigeria needs a new face. Nigeria needs somebody who is competent as a leader, who has good character, who is courageous, because there's so much work to be done in this country. It cannot be done by any half-hearted, fearful Nigerian leader. It must be done by a leader who understands what needs to be done, who is prepared to do it, but not doing it by military order, but by consultation, ensuring that it carries Nigerians along, because Nigerians are the owners of the country. And every major decision we need to take Is it constitutional? Is it progressive? Is it economic? Is it social? Nigerians must buy into it. We must be sure that they are part of the formulation, they buy it if they are not part of the population, and they're part of the implementation. Because the laws, the policies are made for Nigerians. And the essence of governance is to increase the quality of life, to make sure that the Nigerian citizen can measure improvement in his quality of life. That is what governance is all about. And if we cannot assure it, as we have seen in the last couple of years, then there is a need for everything. I believe that PDP is ready to take Nigeria not to just to the next level, which sometimes the next level could be lower level, but to take it to a much higher level that will excite this country and create joy in the hearts of our countrymen and women.
Well, we understand that it is democratically correct for the PDP to keep all options open as it pertains zoning. But you have said that it would be better for the presidential ticket to be zoned to the southeast in particular. Now, what would you say to some members that are insensitive to your plight? And what strategy do you have to create a unifying stance that could bring the Igbo presidency into power?
Well, what I would say to those who are insensitive is that they should forget about personal considerations and look at what is best for our country. That's when you see leadership. Leadership that is willing to sacrifice for the good of the country, but a leader that is so self-centered that it doesn't matter if he dislocates and destroys his system that he always was part of planting, then there's trouble. There is trouble. Then we begin to doubt whether we are wanting to be presidents or to govern ourselves or govern a country. I think that the survival of our country, the unity of our country, the cohesiveness of our country is paramount and should be paramount to anybody who offers to lead and who thinks he has what it takes to lead a multi-ethnic, diverse nation as ours. So I will persuade such people to think about the country. What is best for our nation? It's a matter of time before another 4-8 years, we'll have done with the southeast, and then we'll move up north, maybe go to the north central or the northeast, whatever other part of the north that hasn't had the opportunity, till we get to a level of sophistication where we no longer need to zone. And I tell those who say you zone in America, ask them, in America, do you do state of origin? In America, you are born in New York, you become a New Yorker. You relocate to Florida after 5 years, you become a Floridan. You go to Texas, you become a Texan. Maybe your father came from Florida, your mother from Texas, and you yourself from Atlanta. So where do you zone to? Every child, Nigerian children go to America. The day they arrive in America, the mothers arrive in America and give birth to the baby. It's American. He goes to the UK, he's a UK citizen. But Nigeria here, even from what I heard Mary speak about, we are so discriminatory against ourselves, against our spouses. How can we build a united country when if you are born in Sokoto and you've lived, your parents were born in Sokoto, your grandparents were born in Sokoto, you've lived all your life in Sokoto, Nigerians will tell you are still from Abia or you are from Imo. Does that happen in other countries? Until we get to that level where we breach and remove these demarcations, we cannot deny that we need to vote, we need to zone, we need to rotate. And that principle has already been identified by the framers of their constitution, 1999 constitution. As incompetent as that constitution is, the framers understood and enshrined the federal character. What is federal character? The federal character is in a diverse ethnic environment, multicultural environment, multi-religious environment to increase and ensure unity, to ensure inclusiveness, to ensure ownership, that every person feels a sense of ownership. We need to exclude some people sometime and rotate to other people. I've made this case that if you say rotation is not enshrined, is not part of it, that is not part of the federal character, then I will not be surprised, and nobody should criticize if the incumbent in the office today finishes who is from Katsina. Another Katsina person can take up the job. I hope the people around Kaduna and Kano will not complain. Why? Because if there's no zoning, then there's no exclusion. Zoning comes with exclusion. Since somebody from Katsina it will not be right, even for somebody from Kano or Kaduna to see another Katsina person come to. If it's not right, then it means that it's also not right for a northern Nigerian citizen of Nigeria to finish and immediately hand over to. It has not happened even from the military time. When Obasanjo finished, whether willy-nilly or rightly or wrongly, he was sure that he midwifed a nation that ensured that a northern Nigerian Shehu Shagari came over. People fought him for not wanting Awolowo to take over, even though maybe he didn't even have the power to do that. But it was clear that his mind was to build diversity and to be sure that we maintain this unwritten law of rotation. That's what he started from then, and it has happened ever since. It was only during the military time that it didn't matter, because the military arrangement maybe did not subscribe to recognizing those ethnic cleavages. But for Nigeria to build a united country, we must apply the federal character principle, which is applicable in the office of the president, because it's a one-man office, just as it's applicable in ministries and other institutions. And I think that argument, I believe, will be bought by those people who have a sense of equity, a sense of justice, who feel that what is important now, given the level of dissonance, given the level of the disequilibrium in our polity, is to do things that will unite, that will bring people together, rather than do things that will divide them or cause more acrimony. Many people are feeling marginalized. Many parts are feeling mistreated. Many are feeling misjudged. I think that it calls on us as leaders to come out with policies that will bring back the hopes of the young people, bring back the hopes of the minority, bring back the hopes of the women and the youth, so that they will feel part of the country. Every policy that seems to discriminate does not serve us well to build that country that we need. And I'm appealing to my colleagues in the PDP, especially leaders, to think deeply why they are complete, because otherwise they will be putting the party in a difficult situation. If the other party zones to the south, which they have zoned, and we don't follow the same way, our chances are being limited by taking a decision that is contradictory to what Nigerians are asking for. Are you hearing me still?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Mazi, and I would like to ask a follow-up question, which is to have you talk to us about what do you think will drive next year's election? Will it be the strength of the parties, or will it be individual-driven, the charisma and the character, of the candidates? I'm asking this because of what it looks like PDP hemorrhaging with what the likes of former Governor Kwakwanso, Donald Duke, and a few others are doing, moving out of the party to form a third force, if you like, or a new movement, even though INEC has made it clear that no new party will be registered for next year's election. But then if you have strong people, all across the country saying that there's no difference between PDP and APC, and they will prefer a new movement that can endorse a candidate of their choice or produce somebody who can get into office. Do you think that might affect the chances of your party? That's one. And then secondly, do you think that age of the candidate will play any role in next year's election? We have heard from a leading light of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that he's a youth. He will be 70 on the 29th of this month. He says he's a youth. On the other hand, we have heard from another leading light of your party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, saying categorically that the youth should fight and compete. We are talking about people who have about 55% of the voting strength. The women, as you know, are not happy with what has just happened at the National Assembly. So I'm asking, how does it help Nigeria if we are fielding people who have retired from the boardroom to now come and be running the country, across the parties? People in their 70s, people who are elder statesmen. How will that be good at this point in time, for the sort of energy and the vibrancy that it will require to fix Nigeria the way that a lot of people actually want it?
Well, I thank you very much. The first question is that I think the moves that are going on in the political environment, the rearrangements and the realignments are good. They are very good because we must deal with the arrogance of big parties. Big parties must try not to be arrogant and realize that it is not about them, it's about the people. So that's the warning. I think it's the warning that big parties must understand that the sovereign is the Nigerian. The Nigerians are the sovereign, they hold the power. And they can give it to whoever they like. That's why they have fought for all these electoral reviews and electoral law amendments, because they want to have the sovereign will to select who they want, and they want their votes to count. So there is indication that that is working in that direction, and the big parties just need to be careful what they do. The arrogance of the past must be looked at so that they don't fall into that trap and get embarrassed. Number two, I also believe that the big parties have what the small parties have difficulties to offer, no matter how well-intentioned they are, or new parties. There is something for, we talked about, I'm going to talk about age after, but there's something for experience. There's something for structure. There's something for resources. There's something for organization. In dealing with a 36 states plus one federal capital of a country is humongous. It's not something you arrange in one day. The logistics to go from all the wards in Nigeria and be able to establish a structure that can deliver an election, even when it is regarded as free and fair, is not something that is easy for any disparate group to do. Actually, we should build parties from an ideological point of view or frame of mind, but that has not happened. And short 1 year or less than 365 days may be difficult to get people who have similar ideology to properly align to be able to deliver, because there's something we call state power. State power ensures that people who are in your party have some state apparatus to be able to defend the party, not to use it in any wrong manner, to be able to defend the party, to be able to make the right calls. So, whereas I recognize that it's a logical development, and we cannot ever write that possibility out. What it does is causes caution, brings caution to the big parties not to be arrogant, to be sure that they follow internal democratic principles, so that when their candidates emerge, both people in the party and the rest of Nigeria will see that they have begun to maintain the internal democracy. Because if you don't have an internal democracy, I don't know how you're going to give us a bigger democracy for the world. If you can't arrange a smaller party as a sub-segment of the country to run properly, then you cast doubt your ability to run a bigger country as complex as we are. So I am speaking to our party leaders, especially the big parties, and my own party particularly, to know that there is a weight of history upon them this time. As I've told my leaders in PDP, it is PDP's opportunity to lose the next election. They have to decide to lose it. But because I think Nigerians are prepared to give PDP a chance. They have tested two options and they now can find what they can live with. So if PDP shows that they have organized themselves better, they are following paths of righteousness, they are doing right things in the right ways all the time, then Nigerians are going to trust them. And with the structure they have, with the followership they have, with the experience that PDP has, it should be able to win the election free and fair and square. So that is my comment on that. On the issue of age, it's a repetitive question. It's a rhetoric. I want to say that, yes, Nigerians feel disappointed, maybe because of the immediate past leader, the recent leaders who age has seemed to have been an issue. But what I have also said, that if you look around the whole world today, you have old, elderly people, you have young people in power. If you go to the hospital today, at the emergency unit, you have young people, you have children, you have old people. everybody can fall ill and be unable to perform. The critical things that anybody presenting his office, himself to office, must be sure that he has a healthy body. It's not chronology. Chronological age may be deceptive. There are young people who are unhealthy. There are old people who are very healthy. You must have a healthy body. You must have a healthy mind. You must have a healthy soul. I have said it that you need a sound mind, sound soul, and sound health to run this country, because you need those three. There are certain spiritual aspects of work to be done if you are a leader. And there are things that you need to do that gives your soul ability to connect with the people that you're leading. You must empathize with them. You must work in manners that these are the things that the totality of it, but not just the physical. So those who ask for young people are right to do so. But for me, I think that what I want to provide is experience. I want to provide the goals. I want to provide the vision. I want to provide leadership. Leadership is a virtue. It is applicable from one sector to the other. It's a measure of adaptation. So if you have leadership qualities like God has given me to lead several organizations, Nigeria Economic Summit Group, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, Ikeja, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, having served from first level as a representative in Pfizer and becoming CEO of a multinational, having involved in founding many companies and many businesses, having spent my whole life advocating for the good of our country. I understand how this country works. I have been to 36 states. First time when I was introducing the new Nigeria group, I did the road. So that shows physical agility.
All right, Mazi, I think you're already approaching some of the next question I'm about to ask you, which would be a description of your ambition and capability, of course, to govern a country as complex as Nigeria, given all the points that you've highlighted earlier. And more importantly, why should the Nigerian electorate put their trust in you? Very briefly, please.
Thank you. I would just say that I have been to 36 states of Nigeria. The first time when we were launching the new Nigeria group, selling this vision that a new Nigeria is possible. My sister, I've met many Nigerians, even up to yesterday. As I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to you from Owerri. I came from Bayelsa last night, and I met people, old, young, who have lost hope in this nation. Now, when they hear what we call the gospel of the new Nigeria, a country that will be globally competitive, a country that will become a first world, a country that will work for the poor, the rich, that will work for the strong and the weak, the north, the south, the east, and the west, the elbowed and disabled, the men and the women, the youth and the aged, the boys and the girls. We're going to build a nation of equal opportunity. People are excited and they want it tomorrow. They say, when is this new Nigeria coming? They are tired of the old stories and people who come to power and deny what they have said they were going to do and who sometimes do not have the capacity. People who are so removed from the people. I go most of my trips on the road. I'm doing a second trip. I've done 24 states consulting with PDP leaders. That's what I went to do in Bayelsa. Wow. And people are asking me, how are you doing this? I said, I'm passing by the road. They say these dangerous roads. I said, but these are the roads that our people use. If if those roads are dangerous for them, why should I be excluded for it? I need to know what their issues are. So that they're able to deal with it.
Well, on that note, you've made your point. Thank you very much. On that note, would like to thank you for joining us on the morning show this morning.
Thank you.